I am very hopeful that we will have, and I believe we will have, not 60, but probably 61 votes for the Keystone Pipeline. Now, what the president does is a different matter.
The battle over the Keystone Pipeline comes to a head tomorrow, with questions as to whether the Democratic-controlled Senate will throw up roadblocks again. And speaking of roadblocks, will Republicans, as some have indicated, call for a government shutdown to stop the president's bid for immigration amnesty? We've got a lot to talk about. Welcome to MidPoint, a member of the Senate Committee on Energy and Natural Resources, the junior senator from Utah, Republican Mike Lee. Senator, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you.
What would you expect at this point, as we sit here waiting for tomorrow, for the vote to be on Keystone in the Senate?
Well, I expect it'll pass. This is something that an overwhelming majority of the American people want to pass. It's something that a supermajority within the House and the Senate of the U.S. Congress want to pass. It seems that one of the few people in the United States who doesn't want it to move forward is the president, who, contrary to common sense, decides that he doesn't want this project, which would bring so many tens of thousands of jobs to America and shore up our energy independence within North America. Apparently, he doesn't want that. I don't understand why.
Let me ask. No, if you don't mind, let me ask you a little bit about some of the energy issues here and some of the things regarding Keystone, because I'm sure you've heard this, but every time the subject comes up, these are some of the things that people throw up. Bernie Sanders has written a very interesting article on Politics USA where he points out once again, he says it doesn't create full-time jobs. It only creates a few hundred jobs, if you will. There are those still saying that most of the oil will go to Asia and will then not help America whatsoever. And the critics also say that this is part of the climate change argument because of the dirty oil that is coming out of Canada here. How do you then answer all of these criticisms, because they do seem to stick?
Look, whether those people like it or not, we need oil. We need it in great abundance, and we're going to get that oil, and we can get it from sources within North America, or we can get it from places in the Middle East, where a lot of our enemies live and are getting richer and richer as we continue to buy more and more of their oil. I'd rather have it come from North America. It's quite that simple. Now, they can dispute all they want about exactly how many jobs that it will create. They all acknowledge that this will create jobs. And maybe those jobs aren't important to some of my colleagues. They are important to the people who will get those jobs, and it's important to me that the American people have access to those jobs and have access to this source of energy.
If indeed the oil is going to go through the United States and be shipped overseas, as Mr. Sanders notes here as well, how would that then help the American energy issue if, again, the fuel is not being used here?
Okay, well, again, if that oil is going to be purchased from someplace, I'd rather it be purchased from someone in North America rather than someone in the Middle East. And demand for oil being what it is and on the increase as it is, not only in America, but in a lot of parts of Asia, they're going to get it from somewhere. We might as well do it here. Look, we can produce oil efficiently in North America. We can do it in a manner that is environmentally responsible, and much more so than in many other parts of the world.
Why then, in your opinion, is the president simply so stubborn when you would indicate that it is bipartisan, it is something that helps this country? Even if it puts temporary jobs on the ground, it still puts people to work. Sooner or later, they've got to be able to make a buck here and there. So what is it that the president can't get through his head?
Well, first of all, I want to make clear I don't speak for the president, and I'm probably not the right guy to ask.
What would you believe then is going through
the president's decision? I don't know what his reasons are. Some have speculated that it might be that certain very well-funded interests on his side of the aisle don't want him to sign it. Perhaps this helps him politically in one way or another, but it hurts the American people.
Have we just gotten to the point, Senator, where the president, quite frankly, will shut his ears to anything that walks across his desk if it has the word Republican written on it?
I certainly hope that's not where he is, particularly in light of the election that just happened 2 weeks ago. This is a good time for him to begin practicing and working across the aisle and working with Republicans, not trying to thwart everything that they're inclined to do.
All right, we have another issue to talk about as well. We're going to talk about the immigration issue, but we're going to ask you to stand by for a couple of moments because we're back with Senator Mike Lee after a short break. We are going to head for the border, figuratively, if you will, and get some reality on what is at stake for America. The president continues to say that he will pass his executive order. You've heard the debates here earlier today as well as to what both sides are thinking. But there is no seeming compromise on immigration. And also there comes up the object about the possibility of a government shutdown, which many people say is not on the table. All right, that, and at 43 minutes after the hour, more politics inside the Beltway with John Gizzi. We're coming right back here on MidPoint.